this nicer build quality, really, you start to see where the $2.8 million comes from.
From the exterior to the interior, no shortage of lighting here at Newell Coach. By far the largest living space in the Class A industry. It is a beautiful day today here in Naples, Florida, and we just found the brand new 2027 Newell Coach Florida Show Coach. We're here with Brian Pitts from Newell. How you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic. Good to see you.
Always an honor, and every time we hang out with you, we're seeing the latest and greatest, and this is one of the coolest motorhomes we have ever seen, a brand new 2027 show coach. What is the story with this coach?
Well, we build a couple every year for show. Most of our coaches obviously are custom ordered for a client, but we have to have some to take for a show. This one is a big deal because Florida Show, this is where we see everybody. You know, there's 70,000 people come through the Tampa Super Show, so it's our shot to show off all of the cool stuff we can do, and we did it on this coach. We literally threw the book at this machine.
Really looking forward to going in depth on this coach. Now, if folks do want to see this coach in person, it's going to be at the Tampa Show, January 14th through the 18th, 2026. We're going to try to get this video live as quickly as possible, but that's the one show that's kind of open to the general public every year that you do have a display coach at. What was the inspiration for this coach?
Well, I was talking to Ryan Laux, the guy that does our design. We started just kicking ideas back and forth, and once this one came along, I handed it around to everybody, and everybody just went nuts for it. So we were like, all right, that's our paint scheme right here. We love the little shapes that we ghosted into the stripes right here. This is the BMW Frozen Blue Metallic that you'll see a little later on as we're looking around the coach.
And you guys did something insane here on the back of the coach. We've seen a couple ghosted American flags in the paint before, but this really turned out spectacular. What was the inspiration, or how did that come about?
I had seen the ones that we did before and loved them, and in particular this one's important because we're starting the 250th anniversary of the United States. I wanted to make a big deal out of that. We're also coming up on the 60th anniversary of Newell, which is a big deal too. We're an American-made, American-owned company, and we wanted to celebrate that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a lot of patriotic Newell Coach owners out there, and I think someone's gonna really appreciate that. And it's kind of hard to see in different sunlights, but when that sun hits it, it just really pops out in a really cool design. Not only is the paint job over the top on this one, but you guys went over the top on this engine as well.
Oh, it's so cool. I can't wait to show you.
And as we're opening this up, I want to point out that there's actually that American flag is ghosted all the way through the engine door here, so you can see some of that slight detail work, just a lot of very fine detail work. But oh my goodness, you guys were not playing around with the chrome back here in the engine bay. I even see this is wrapped in like a blue carbon fiber type. I'm seeing a heavy blue metallic here. What's all going on back here?
This is a BMW color that we used in the paint job also, and so we matched the carbon fiber wrap for the air cleaner, and the whole entire engine block is painted in the frozen blue metallic. And then all of the stuff that would normally be red hardware has been replaced with polished stainless.
Very cool, over the top. I know you guys have a lot of people in the racing world out there that like to trick out their engines. I know Mark Martin is a avid Newell owner and Newell enthusiast. I think he was kind of the trendsetter, and you guys just took it to the next level here.
He got it started with the performance portion of it for sure, and then we wanted to make them pretty, and this one is also a stage 3. So it's 785 horsepower and 2,300 pounds of torque.
Holy smokes. I can imagine the 0-60 in this will probably put other motorhomes to shame.
In this weight class for sure.
Now, does it still have the 25,000 pound towing capacity, or is that affected at all with that big horsepower?
Not at all. In fact, it's really a perfect combination. I pulled a stacker out here, a heavy stacker with 2 cars in it, and it does such a great job. You just don't bog down near as much on heavy inclines as you would, but the 25,000 pound hitch is so important to keep you legal when you're pulling a big, 24,000 pound GVW stacker. It just gives me a lot of peace of mind knowing that I'm legal pulling that kind of weight with this setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure if you need to pass a semi truck with 780 horsepower, no lagging here.
Yeah, actually going up some of the hills when we get into Tennessee and North Carolina on the way out, Had to use my Jake brake going uphill a couple of times because I came up on traffic too fast.
Oh, I bet. So if you're looking to do motorhome drag races anytime soon, I think Brian's got the right coach for you.
Thank you.
What all else is going on back here in the engine bay?
Well, a couple of things. One of them that's kind of glaring to me is this air hose reel. You know, like, I love having the air hose on board. It goes through an air doubler, so you can pump 160 psi if necessary. It's got plenty of hose to reach your stacker trailer or the front tires, but it's red, so it doesn't match anything. We've got a polished stainless steel when ordered, but that's not something they build a whole lot of, so that's still incoming. I love the convenience of having that there. Also, the pressure washer is such a nice thing. You know, we came in with all the grime and everything from on the road, just gave it a quick rinse off with the DI water and then dried off the spots, and really maintaining the engine wasn't that big of a deal using the equipment on board.
And having an engine like this, you're going to need that pressure washer. You're going to want to keep that engine nice and clean to show it off. And
colors are totally custom. If it exists, we can paint it that color.
So they call it man jewelry, I
There
think.
you go,
Yes,
exactly.
sir. I'm also noticing that the sun's getting ready to go down here in Naples, but we've got a bright blue light glowing up. So we're gonna show off all that underglow lighting as the sun starts to come down here. And talking about exterior lighting, Newell Coach does more exterior lighting than anyone I know in the industry, and at this $2.8 million price point, I know your customers have the highest demands, but what's all of the exterior lighting that we're seeing on this coach?
We do put a lot on there, and part of it is because it's beautiful, of course, but it's also functional. So there's, like, along the awning rails, there's selectable RGB. Inside the belt rails here, there's selectable RGB. I have it on the color that matches this BMW color. And then underneath the coach, it's hard to see because it's still daylight, but we have ground effect lighting in the same color. We light this also so you can see all the polished stainless steel that's going on in there. All of these colors are selectable. When I turned this on, we picked a color that looked good, and then I just hit sync and it turned them all on the same color. But the other night I had them on red, white, and blue. You know, so you can kind of pick it however you want.
Maybe if it's St. Patty's Day coming up
Make
soon, a
them
little
green.
green.
Yeah, absolutely.
Valentine's Day, do you have pink?
I can do pink.
Very
yeah,
cool.
It's on there.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Different color for every holiday. And now that the sun's dropping a little bit back in this engine bay here, you almost needed sunglasses earlier with the sun out, but still a really nice look. And if someone ever needed to come back here to change a belt, it's very well lit back here. Now, can we put these big patio awnings out here? I know we've got some palm trees here on this lot here. And what's the name of this resort we're hanging out at today?
This is Pelican Lake, Naples, Florida. I love this place. It is beautiful. Obviously, being close to Naples is a major nice deal. All the shopping, the killer cars. But this resort is just so nice because there's heavy foliage between each lot, and they're huge lots. I mean, we have the coach parked sideways on one of the lots, but they're huge lots, but it feels like you're the only person here because of all the foliage in between the lots. I love this place.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's put the awnings out here and show that off. So we still have the slide rooms in, but we've got a ton of under awning patio space here, and then really nice lighting. You've got 2 rows of lighting with the normal color lights and then the RGB lighting as well.
Yeah, we like the light colored on the inside, so when the awnings are out, it illuminates your camping area, gives you some light to work with. And then we also do a nice row of lights down low right here that it doesn't shine right in your face, just shines right on the area where you're living. It works really nice.
Yeah, from the exterior to the interior, no shortage of lighting here at Newell Coach. Now, these wheels are something a little bit newer and more updated that I don't recall seeing in the past. What's the story with these wheels?
We've been coming across some custom wheels lately. This is a company called Torque HD. They build these custom wheels for us. These are polished aluminum. We have chrome wheels. We paint a lot of them now, which is kind of a new thing. We've been painting them to match the coach, but it's just kind of cool to see something besides the same Alcoas that everyone's used forever.
Yeah, absolutely. These look great, and I'm really looking forward to showing the folks inside, but can we take a quick look through the bays before we take a look at the interior?
So this one is batteries and fuel. It has a camera on it so you can see when you're lined up with the fuel island, which is super helpful, especially if you're towing. And then you have a 205-gallon fuel tank here. These are Dragonfly lithium ion batteries. They work together with our inverter package, which is two 5,000 watt inverters to give you really all the power you need to run the coach, even off of the batteries.
Yeah, I know that's a pretty big upgrade from some of the previous systems, and Newell wasn't always playing with lithium batteries. When did they start having this system? And I believe this is a standard option now?
It's standard now. So what our deal was with lithium batteries is that, first of all, we weren't forced into them. We were always able to use 20 kilowatt generators. That forced a lot of our industry into lithium batteries because they needed it to help carry the load that would typically be carried by the generator. It seems like the price and the reliability and the ability for them to work with monitoring systems built into the coach all came together at the same time, and it made sense for us to start making them a standard item.
Can you run multiple ACs off of just the batteries without turning the generator on, or how long can you run those ACs for?
You can. There's in the settings, you can tell it, I want inverted air and these are the air conditioners I want to run. It's a massive current draw.
Yes, sir.
So, it depends on the battery package. This is the standard battery package. They go up well over 3,000 amp hours. There's varying capacities there, but the idea is to kind of supplement the alternator. While you're traveling down the road, if you don't want to run the generator for some reason, you can run your roof airs off of the inverters.
And then will the alternator recharge those lithium batteries while you're going down the road?
Absolutely.
And for some of the more techie folks out there, do you know how many amp hours you can get out of these lithium batteries?
There's several different packages available. This is our standard package. It's 1,620 amp hours. Compared to, say, a AGM package, which is 800 amp hours, of which about 550 is usable. We have a client on the other extreme who's a racer. He's got a little over 3,900 amp hours in his coach because he's a racer, and he doesn't want to run his generator while he's sitting out there at the racetrack stirring up dust and that sort of thing. So there's options on that, but the 1620 that the coaches come standard with does a really fantastic job of running it for a long time.
I think you might be talking about our good buddy Ken Twaits with
That's
that
exactly.
green Newell. He actually just started a YouTube channel. He's got a couple videos on his Newell, huge Newell coach enthusiast, and we'll have to leave a link to his channel in the description below because he's making some cool videos about that coach. And we didn't catch that one at the factory, but what another cool different variation of what Newell can build.
His big project now is he's got a plain colored stacker trailer, and he's like, do I wrap it? Do I paint it? Do I leave it alone? And he's kind of taking answers on that. So if you have an opinion, maybe check him out.
Yeah, I saw that really cool Newell coach owner that we have interviewed in the past with his 22 Newell, but he stayed in the Newell family, got another new Newell, and he talked in the past about he's had Newells since I think the 90s or way back. So really cool to meet different Newell enthusiasts like that stay in the Newell family for decades and then push you guys to keep stepping up your technology
all
always.
the time.
Yes, sir. Well, I think a lot of folks out there can really appreciate that lithium. I kind of fought it personally myself, but once I had it, not having any fumes or noise from the generator and being able to run the ACs and refrigerator and everything, definitely a lot of value to it. Yeah, so what else is going on in the base here?
Well, on a mid-door coach, we split the pass-through storage bays. On a front entry coach, there would be two pass-through storage bays up front, 4 feet wide. On a mid-door coach, it has the same amount of storage, but it's split over 3. So this next one here is a pass-through storage bay. We made it manual because that gives you more room for bay and you don't have to worry about motors.
Yeah, great spot for maybe golf clubs
Absolutely.
or fishing poles or stuff that you may not be having to pull out very
Every
often.
time.
Yes, sir.
Because the door and this interfere. So they have an interlock on them, so this won't open if the door's open and vice versa. But yeah, you'd put stuff that you don't use 5 times a day in this bay because it's a little more to get to it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and when we go inside, I want to ask you more about mid-entry versus front entry advantages. I know Newell Coach is now building over half of their new production is mid-entry.
We just got an email from Nathan Kelly, our project engineer. We're just over 70% of our current production is ordered mid-entry.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's a huge number, and I think once folks have a mid-entry, it's hard to go back to that front entry.
Really never do.
A lot of big advantages. Yeah, so up front, what's going on here?
So this is the Aquahot and plumbing bay. It has a television on the outside of it here.
Yeah, and these switches are kind of an update in the last couple years where the switch to move the TV out is now on the bay door.
And the slide out trays in the compartments there on the bay door too. It's just, it still has the remotes and the manual overrides, but it's just kind of nice to not have to bend over. It's just right here on the door.
Yes, sir. And then what's all going on back here?
So this is the plumbing bay, and we have our custom AquaHot. It's a 675D. It's 64,000 BTUs on the diesel side and 45,000 BTUs on the 220 volt electric high setting, 15,000 BTUs on the 110 volt electric low setting. This coach is also set up, we have a number of ways to do it, but this coach is set up with a traditional powered passenger side dump. So if you're in a situation where, say, like when we're leaving the ball games at OU, there's a grate you can drive over. You can do it right from the seat, dump it, and keep right on going. Pretty handy. Some folks will also do a macerator in here, but this one has the traditional 3-inch dumps on both sides. We have 143 gallons of fresh water and 143 gallons of holding. We like to make the two tanks equal, so all of the water in the fresh tank will fit in the other tank regardless.
Now, I know in some other coaches you can get a larger holding tank capacity. In a mid-entry tank, do you still have that option to go to like 180 gallon?
Absolutely. The plumbing bay is exactly the same size, actually. So it requires relocating the AquaHot into one of these forward bays, but then we can go on out to 180s. We see that quite a lot on our bunk bed coaches with 2 showers, and definitely on our NASCAR clients. You know, they're kind of trapped in the track there, so that extra 40 gallons of water and holding is really important to them.
Now, do you notice that more on front entries or mid entries? Because I think the front entries have a little more bay space, it seems like.
The plumbing bay is the same size regardless. We do see it more on front entries because front entries work better with bunk beds.
That makes sense.
You know, if you have to come up with nearly 7 feet of bunk bed space plus 2 full bathrooms, it's probably better to do a front entry and save the space that you would have with the center door. Now, we have done, you shot a video on it, it was a great video. We have done center entries with the bunk bed, but for the most part, front door, center entry, bigger tanks is the combo that you're asking about.
And you've also done mid-entry with 2 full bathrooms. One of my favorite coaches you guys have built. So many different configurations you guys can do at Newell.
Absolutely. The 2 bath thing is really, people love it because it's a his and hers. You know, even if it's not a bunk bed coach, even if it's just mom and dad out there, having 2 full bathrooms is great. You know, let's go to dinner in 30 minutes. You both have a bathroom. You're not steaming up the mirrors while each other are getting ready. It's really kind of taken off in an unexpected direction for us, which is non-bunk bed coaches.
Well, it makes sense for me. When you come hang out at these resorts and you see these folks that are living this lifestyle, I mean, they're playing pickleball right now. There's dinners going on, parties going on. So they're making the most out of every second of every day. So I can appreciate
they live well here.
Yes, sir. No doubt about that. So, yeah, so coming up front here, what's all going on in the base up front?
So then these 2 are the other 2 pass-through storage bays. We have some stuff in here. We've got the mats. I usually don't put these out during shows, but these are really great. Our upholstery shop makes these and they snap down on the steps. Take kind of the gravel off of your feet so you don't track it in. But I'm not going to put these down until the new owner takes delivery. They're too pretty to do
Yes, sir.
that.
Are there mats for the front cockpit area as well? Or?
Yeah, so it's got the mats for the steps coming in as well as the whole area around the driver and passenger seat.
Yeah, I think when we get inside too, you'll show us all the cool little details that Newell does. Lots of little details like that just take it to the level to command this $2.8 million premium.
Absolutely.
So, as we're going around here, I've got to compliment the straight lines on the window lighting. I feel like this is a little bit more updated than a few years ago. You guys made a pretty big update on the windows maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's really a customer preference item. In this case, we ordered them just white. They don't change colors with the rest of the coach. Just the white really matches the interior a lot more. It's a nice soft color. We will do the RGBs in the window, and there is a white setting. It just isn't this nice warm white like this. And we like these strips rather than the individual lights. Just think it looks a little classier, better finished.
Yeah, very classy for sure.
Thank you.
Now it's starting to get dark out here. Now coming around the front end, we've got the backlit Newell badge, but what are we looking at for the generator in this coach?
This has a 20 kilowatt Durawatt generator. And what is important about that is, as we were talking a little earlier about the batteries, Tier 4 compliant generators required them to burn DEF. We didn't want that to happen, so we've been working with this company DuraWatt to develop a generator for our package that is a 20 kilowatt non-DEF burning generator, and that's what we have here.
And I believe there's a fire suppression system in that generator as well.
Yeah, always.
Now, I'm really looking forward to going inside here, but it's getting a little dark out here in Naples early in January. But going through the bays on the other side, what all else is going on the bays on the other side that we didn't see yet?
So we've got the 2 pass-throughs up here. And so the next one back is the main service bay, which is the other side of this plumbing bay. I say main because it's the one that's set up for everyday use. It's got the retractable sewer hose and the water hose reel and the manifold system to shut off the individual components inside the coach. It's the one that you would interface with the most. Next one back from it is the one that's opposite the entry door here. It's a shallower bay, and it's the one that has the solenoids for inflating and deflating the seals around the slide outs. It's got the Newell N1 system, which powers the whole coach with resettable breakers rather than fuses. Really nice deal. And also the 2 5,000 watt inverters I told you about are in that bay. Next bay back is the other pass-through bay. And then finally you get back there to the last bay, and it's got our the main fill, and I again consider that side to be the main fill. You can fill from either side, but fuel and DEF right beside each other. You know, hang up the fuel nozzle, plug in the DEF nozzle, and you're done in just a few minutes. It's a really good setup. You don't have to reposition the coach to fill the DEF. They're just maybe 20 inches apart from each other.
Yeah, super convenient. And one last question before we go inside. Bumping it up to 780 horsepower, does that slurp a little more diesel fuel than a standard X15?
The craziest thing, we're seeing a mile to the gallon better fuel economy because it breathes better. You know, part of the package is intake, exhaust, better cooling, and so on, and it breathes better, and it actually gets better fuel economy.
This exterior is stunning, but do you think we could put the slide rooms out and take a look inside?
Absolutely.
Well, this coach has an incredible feel. Was there an inspiration for the interior design?
So we had a customer not long ago say that they went to this gorgeous spa and they designed their coach to look like the spa. I loved it, so we borrowed from their inspiration, and Amber and Sydney took off with it from there, and this is what we got.
It really came out nice, and I think we've seen similar ceiling design to this, but this seems to be a little bit lighter wood slate than some of the previous designs.
Yeah, here in Florida, people seem to really like the lighter colors. Contrasts well with all the trees in the background, I suppose. Probably nice because of all the heat down here, but if you can go way overboard, I see it all the time when I'm looking at pictures and videos of coaches. You know, you go overboard with too much white, too much light, and it just has no personality whatsoever. So it's really nice to mix in a few touches of accents like the wood grain cabinets here, and of course what you mentioned, these trim pieces on the ceiling here. It warms the coach back up. The light colors make it feel enormous, but having a few pops of these accent colors just warms it up and makes it feel like home, I think.
Yes, sir. And you said, you know, the light colors make it feel enormous, but this really is a huge motorhome. By far the largest living space in the Class A industry. You've got the most headroom, the tallest slide rooms. How are you able to have the most living space in the Class A industry?
Really, a lot of it comes down to the fact that we build our own chassis. We built it from the beginning to do this. It was never meant to be a dump truck or a school bus or whatever, you know, whatever it may have been. We knew from the beginning that that's what we wanted to do with this chassis, so we built a chassis that handles this. These slides, 3 of the 4 slides in this coach are 30-inch deep slides. The only reason the 4th one isn't is because you'll see in a minute there's a big stack of bureau drawers back there in the back that precludes us doing opposing 30-inch slides back there. But what you said about the interior space, you know, if you measure it in floor space, it's impressive, but if you measure it in cubic feet, it's off the charts how much bigger these are than traditional, and that's what you feel when you live in it. You feel cubic footage.
Well, and also you feel how high-end everything. I mean, every square inch from, you know, the floor to ceiling. When you look at the seams and, you know, you've got indirect lighting above the slide room face, more, you know, indirect lighting below the valance there. I mean, just so many little touches, but literally Every square inch of every wall is upholstered. Every square inch is finished out. And you mentioned you build your chassis from the ground up. To my knowledge, the Newell coach has the heaviest chassis in the industry as well, so it's able to accommodate these larger slide rooms. I'm sure there's some pretty substantial weight to these Valid slide rooms.
The slides themselves are really not very heavy. They're made out of aluminum like the rest of the upstairs portion of the chassis. But once we put all of this stuff in them, there's a whole galley in this one over here, and sleeper couches with recliners and all that on that side. That stuff is pretty heavy. So the whole slide, there's a 3/8 inch thick steel plate that's welded to the chassis, and the whole slide slides back and forth off of that plate. It's an extremely strong piece of the coach. It doesn't just slide in and out of the side of it. I'm living in an RV right now. This is an embarrassing admission, but I'm living in an RV that is not a Newell. I know. But I can afford it, which is the important part, because I'm building a new house, so there's no Newell money involved. And the thing that freaks me out the most is I'm so used to solid. You lean on something, you sit on something, you close a door, and it goes clunk like it's supposed to. And it's horrifying the amount of money you spend out there and still get rattly, saggy, stapled together. I mean, I've literally got a jack that holds my closet rod up because it was pulling the staples out of the back wall, And so when you mentioned the high-end finishes in here, before that experience, I would have just nodded along. And now that I'm living it in real life, there's a lot more to it than just the high-end finishes. It's how well it's put together. And when you're living in here and opening that refrigerator door 30 times a day and all the things that you do, this nicer build quality, really, you start to see where the $2.8 million comes from, is what it is.
Well, and this is a 45-foot motorhome that's $2.8 million, where there's other 45-foot motorhomes that are a fraction of the cost of this, but still the same size. So, of course, there's going to be a quality difference.
Absolutely.
But you guys are doing something else completely different that no one else in the Class A industry is doing with the mid-entry here. And we've talked a little bit about some of the advantages, but at over 70% of your production, what are some of the big advantages and some of the reason folks are choosing to go with a mid-entry?
The big thing for me, we're here at Pelican Lake in Naples. All of your living is right there. Your interface with outdoor living is just we pulled into several different pads today looking for the right lighting. And every time my mind is like, we interface better with the outdoor kitchen here. We're not up against the hedge over there. That's the thing. Yeah. You're living out there. You've got this gorgeous place, and you carry your tray of food in and out. The pantry's here, the kitchen is here, the half bath, refrigerator, beverage station, everything is right here in the middle of the coach. Under an awning. You mentioned the coverage. We have a ton of awning space on that side, and we've got a screen door, and that's a big deal on high-end coaches. High-end coaches don't have screen doors. This mid-door coach always has a screen door.
We can get bugs from time to time here in Florida, so that definitely comes in handy. And the other big thing that I really appreciate is having the separate closed off area. So maybe your wife is hanging out with her friends in the salon here, and you're out with the buddies watching the game, and one of your buddies needs to come and use the half bathroom. Well, the gals can hang out up front here, or the kids or grandkids. Sure. Or I've also heard Newell owners talk about in the mornings, if maybe their grandkids are out here still sleeping and they want to take the dog for a walk, they can just go right out that mid-entry, and just so many little conveniences that you don't realize until you start using the coach. But
and conversely, I like to get in the stacker trailer and check the ratchet straps and make sure everything's okay. She doesn't have to disassemble her program over there. She's got a book, she's got the iPad, she has the puppy, everything is all set, and I can just pull over on a wide spot of the road, run out this mid door, check the ratchet straps, and go right on back down the road. She doesn't even have to put the footrest down for me to get out. I love that part.
Yeah, and again, traveling with dogs, you mentioned, dogs don't know when it's time that you have to make a hard left turn all of a sudden, and you've got that big stairwell. Sure. Just really nice having that secure area, and then, not having another air seal around that door. I've heard it's a little bit quieter in a mid-entry up front as well.
You don't have wind disruption around the frame. And speaking of the dogs thing, a thing that I never thought of, but a great friend of mine got drug out of the coach by her golden retrievers. on the front door, that she got tangled up in the chair and they were ready to go. And so their next coach, they did a center entry straight in like this one. We curved some of them, but this is a straight one. And she did a straight entry. When she pushes the button and those big dogs are ready to go, she can control it from up here and then go down the stairs without it being against her will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've got a golden retriever puppy right now. I can appreciate that. So when he wants to go, it's
lots
time.
of energy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now coming back to this, Coach, I love that you guys didn't put any cabinets overhead. So I know Newell has the largest windows in the Class A industry, but you've got an incredible view. And I don't know if we got shots of the water here before it got dark, but an incredible RV spot here. Yeah. And this variation of the salon seems to be pretty popular in your mid-entry coaches.
We hear a lot about it from customers, especially here. We talked about that big privacy hedge that goes down that side of the coach. There's not much to see over there.
Yes, sir.
So we concentrate the large windows over here. We have these awesome, comfortable recliners that face this direction. Obviously, we still have windows, so you can see out, but the big stuff is on this side. As far as the cabinets go, occasionally we'll get an order. I mean, obviously, we build every single thing in the coach. Occasionally we'll get an order when they say, hey, I want the cabinets, I want the storage up there. That's a piece of cake. It's super easy to do. The vast majority of our customers bought our coach because of this. I mean, you don't feel like you're trapped in a box. You're part of the outside.
Yeah, very high-end feel for sure. And last year we showed off the projector on 1823. Does this have that projection?
We did the same thing. It went over so well, got rave reviews at the shows, and really, from a practical standpoint, it makes so much sense because you don't want to build a television over one of those windows. That would be awful. If you do a lift, it makes the walkway really narrow. So having a projection system with the other televisions, there's a huge television in the front overhead here. There's a Samsung frame back there, which those are super cool. So the projector and the surround sound is set up more for we're going to have movie night. It's not really something that you're going to sit around and watch the news on in the middle of the day. It's blocking one of your windows. It requires darkness to get to the full 4K resolution. But man, when it's movie night, having that monster screen with all the sound and all of that, or if you want to be outside, we talked about that, how you can reverse the image and take the Bluetooth speakers out there, that's killer too, especially on a place like this. It's got huge lots. So big, you have to be a little ways away from it. So on the smaller lots, maybe not, but here you've got so much room you can just sit back and enjoy it. We had a Super Bowl party last year. It wasn't my coach, but it was another client that had that set up. And so he had the regular bay television going and the big one up here. And there were definitely more people sitting around this one than there were even the bay television.
Yeah, well, a huge TV. I mean, there's no way a motorhome can have that big of a TV outside without that projection technology. Or
True.
If they did, it would just be over the top. But and it's got to be over 80 inches or 100 inches.
I think it's right at. I think it's 78 inches.
Yeah, and if you want to really become the star of the campground, whenever there's a new Newell coach upload on RVing with Andrew Steele on YouTube, you could put that on outside and invite the neighbors over and show off the latest and greatest. But do you know what percentage of your coaches are ordered with that projection technology or the outdoor projector?
It seems like the vast majority, I would say 80%, and I'm pulling that out of the air, but I go in every coach as we build it, to kind of watch it come along, at least do one, either in the bedroom or up here. In a lot of cases, it's both. In this case, we did a built-in television in the bedroom, but we still built the cabinet for the projector because I hear from some people, I rarely raise the shades in the bedroom. So I don't care. We just built a regular television in there. But the next owner may say, hey, I want that huge window, make it a projector, and it's so much easier if we build it that way to begin with. So right now it's just open storage up there, but it's got the wiring so we can put the projector in, remove the wall system. The window's already there too. That's the hard part. So it works really nicely. But yeah, I would say, gosh, it's got to be close to 80%. It's just such a great way to deal with an issue in coaches. Where do you put the television and what do you lose when you put it there?
Yeah, absolutely. A great way to utilize space. And we were just with you in Oklahoma a couple weeks ago going through some of your pre-owned inventory. And I really appreciate the way Newell builds their coaches where they're thinking ahead for resale value, and for future owners, if there's little changes that folks want to make, they're building them so that those are going to be cost effective and easy to change, and it helps keep your resale value up. And you've got some incredible pre-owned units with a 2-year warranty.
Absolutely.
And I know those are constantly coming and going, but newellcoach.com is where folks can find your pre-owned inventory.
We keep that up to date really well. And another thing we do that I think is really cool, we have a warehouse that we keep as much as we possibly can of the building materials that we built this coach and one 4 years ago. That way, when it does come back through and somebody's like, hey, you know, I'd like to take, obviously this couch has seat belts in it, so it's bolted to the chassis. There's no tile underneath it. Somebody comes along and says, I'd like 2 more recliners or a desk over there. Well, we need some tile. The chances of us buying this tile and it ever matching is like 0. So we stock as much as we can possibly hold of that leather, that fabric, that tile. That way when the coach does come back through, the guys can go out there to the stock room and select, this is coach 1849, so say we're 3 years down the road and they want to remodel, they can go out there and pull the original material for 1849, hopefully, and still do the remodel.
Well, and we recently did a video with Sydney and Amber from your remodel department. They're the designers, and we saw a 2001 coach, I believe, that was just over the top, and it's incredible to see what your remodel department is able to do and to get that same Newell coach factory quality. I mean, no one's going to remodel a coach better than Newell. Yeah. And because you've got these commercial grade bones, the chassis is so robust. I mean, these can go millions of miles. We see some of those, you know, coaches from the 70s and 80s in your service department. And I also noticed the shop rate is only $180 an hour, where I've seen some of the service centers down in Florida pushing on $300 an hour. So really a tremendous value in having that one-stop shop, whether folks need chassis work, service work, or remodel work, that can all be done at the Newell Coach factory?
Absolutely. We literally, as we were building onto our service shop, we built a remodel department. Got it full of amazing, talented guys that it's kind of interesting because normally we have a carpenter and we have an electrician and we have an upholsterer, but those guys over there kind of have to be all that stuff to take it apart, put it all back together the way the new person wants it. But yeah, it's gotten to be a pretty common thing, and I love it because it's like you said, you know, with a yacht, you don't just make it into a coral reef. You know, you bring it in, you repower it, update the electronics, put a new interior in it, and on down the road for a fraction of the money of ordering a new yacht. And we're doing the same thing here. It's actually really gratifying to see, you know, 55, nearly 60-year-old coaches come through and get a refresh and get back out on the road.
Oh, absolutely. And we see, you know, the way the NASCAR teams run these coaches hard, they put a lot of miles on them. Yeah. But I was recently driving a Newell coach with like 300,000 or 400,000 miles on it, and it was a NASCAR coach, but they had gone through and had all that suspension dialed in, and it drove like a brand new Newell. So really so many options for folks. And then with that new world-class design center you guys have, if someone wants to go and kind of get that design experience like you're purchasing a new $2.8 million coach, really cool to work with your design team to select your different finishes, and they're really world-class.
Absolutely.
Now, coming back to this coach, I know in 26, I believe you guys made the big cockpit update, but what all else is new up front here?
Absolutely. What you mentioned is, you know, there used to be an iPad right here that ran house functions, and now this is all integrated into the big 18-inch screen here. And what's so great about that, from my point of view, is the buttons on the iPad were small. You know, so you're driving and you're trying to stabilize your finger to turn the heat and air condition up, for instance. Look at the size of the buttons there. That's just so easy to catch those buttons while you're driving.
I know I was recently driving a late model Newell, and when I went to adjust my rear view mirrors, it was so quick and so easy. It was like, all right, where's my mirror buttons? And I mean, it was like within seconds I could see it, and then it was just so easy to adjust them, just extremely ergonomic. Then the stereo up front here too is just over the top, but that's very easy to manage too from that panel.
Yeah, the entire purpose of it was to make it as easy as possible to hit the buttons that you need to hit with the minimal amount of time of distraction from the road. And it worked. It did exactly what we wanted it to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm noticing something a little new on this. I don't know if I've seen this style before, where Usually the Newell badge is upholstered into the headrest, but this is embossed Newell logo. I mean, you've got the Newell logos on the foot pedals, the steering wheel, so many cool little Newell logos throughout this coach.
There's so many Easter eggs all through the coach. I love it. I mean, it's like the guys and girls actually get kind of a kick out of. Did you notice that?
Yeah, so many details in these coaches. And is that Alcantara suede on the
It
steering
is.
wheel up
Yeah,
there?
it's so nice. I just love it to hold on to that while you're driving. It's so soft and, never cold, never hot. I just love that stuff.
Well, I like what you did with the lighter wood up here. It ties in with these wood slates up front here. In the past, they did a lot of carbon fiber in the dashes, but very classy look up front there.
I like that too, and I'm a carbon fiber guy. I love, performance, this, that, and the other thing. They can't have too much carbon fiber, but you're absolutely right. That's really classy. It befits a cockpit of this station to have a little warmer look than just carbon fiber.
And when we turn these Newell coach captain's chairs around, there's just so much living space here.
Yeah. It never fails. If it's a rainy day out and everybody wants to get together, it's going to be a Newell.
Yeah.
This is where we have room for everyone.
Well, especially at the Tampa show last year. I mean, I think you guys have to limit how many people are in the Newell. There's usually a pretty long line to come check out the Newell at the Tampa show.
Yeah, I enjoy that. It's fun that people will, invest a half an hour of their time waiting to get in to see what the guys from Oklahoma brought this year. It's very gratifying.
Well, we get to see a lot of motorhomes, and this is something really special. You don't see one of these every day, and we try to get you guys the best shots with the best cameras and everything, but there's so much detail work that even the camera isn't going to show. So seeing one in person, I highly recommend if you do have the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So. Now, does this turn into sleeping at all?
It does. Through some pretty clever stuff that, again, came out of our design shop, we've got a real queen size bed in here. Typically that's been difficult to do because it has to come out between the armrests so you get a full bed, but we made the armrests removable so there's enough width here to do a full queen. And then the other thing that I think is really clever, typically if you choose to order a sleeper couch, you don't get theater seating. If you get theater seating, you don't get a sleeper couch. This one has both. And we put the buttons opposite so you don't have to reach behind yourself. You can just sit down here and run the chair up.
Well, then you've got this really cool ottoman here that kind of slides around.
For my long legs, this actually works better. And so you can turn it over and make like a serving tray, which is the way we have that one right there. Or if you want footrest, it's there too.
Below that, I just noticed this rug with a cool texture. There's so many little Easter eggs, like what you said. It's such a cool design that really ties all these colors together. Now, coming back into the galley area, what's all going on back here?
We have a waterfall edge, which I like for a number of reasons. When you turn the chairs around, you don't have to worry about a sharp countertop edge pressing into the leather. It's just a nice flat surface, plus it looks cool.
Absolutely.
And tons of drawer space. I mean, it's got just drawers everywhere. On a front entry coach, this is typically where the trash can would be. On a mid-entry coach, proximity to the mid door is important, so we put the trash can here, and it's got a place behind it where you keep your cleaning cloths and trash bags and that sort of thing. This is relatively new. We've done a few over the years, but the Miele dishwasher, as opposed to the Fisher Paykel, that drawer is so wide that you can have a couple of little thin drawers on top of it, but this one allowed us an entire other set of drawers because it's tall and skinny, not wide. That's been really nice.
Have you gotten any feedback at how well that washes dishes compared to the Fisher Paykel? Or?
Well, we've had people asking if we can change them out, so that's a good sign.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then this one also has, we've talked about the invisible cooking surface. I'm kind of dreading that part of the Tampa Super Show because a lot of people immediately come in here and go, well, I guess these people don't cook. So I end up describing what this does about 10 million times. But what happens here is this is an induction cooking system that's built in under the counter. Obviously that uses magnetics, so there's no indicator of where the burner is, but it will pull the pan into place. So as the magnetism is established, it'll kind of center the pan, and then you choose which burner you want to use and what temperature you want to use it at, and you're off to the races. It does come with these little silicone pads if you're concerned about scratching the countertop. So you can put those down on there, and that will help you locate the burner if you're moving moving pans back and forth and so on. So it's got one for each burner. This is a 2-burner unit, which is about all we would put in a motorhome. But what's so neat about this, we talk a lot about the interface with outdoor living. Well, in places like this, we've got an outdoor kitchen out there. You don't have to smell up the coach when you're cooking dinner. So prep surface, tray, out to the cooking area. That works really, really nice.
Yeah, really versatile, and I would bet a lot of Newell owners are ordering this as an option in their new Newells.
Pretty much everyone.
Yeah, and I also noticed in the drawer next door, you've got the wooden silverware dividers, and it looks like almost like a matte black or a silverware that actually matches the design. Yeah.
We do these custom. Obviously, this one being a show coach, we made it the way we thought, with room for cooking utensils on either side and then regular silverware through here. But if a client has a specific, I want this to be this size and so on, we build all of that stuff custom. But it is really nice to keep it from skating around in the drawer and you're having to, look to find your tongs or whatever. It's nice to have that organizer.
Yeah, and I'm just impressed with having the design team pick out my silverware for me. That's much easier than having to do it yourself. And then they also do the bedding. The blankets, these pillows up here. Your design team loads these up with all the decor, pretty much everything.
It's ready to go. It is funny the number of people that said, "No, wait a minute, it's going to look like this when I take delivery of it, right?"
Yes, sir.
Just like this. Yeah, this is yours.
You're not stripping out decor pieces for the next coach.
No.
What else is going on in the galley here?
One thing that I take for granted until the cheap RV that I live in now, I've just taken it for granted, but we've always had garbage disposals. I miss that. That is so nice. You scrape the plates, you turn on the garbage disposal, and everything is handled. I love that. I haven't ever been in a Newell coach that didn't have it, and I miss it. This has also got the chilled and heated water on demand. That's kind of nice if you're a tea drinker, which I am occasionally. You can just put the tea bag in your cup and turn the hot water on, and no need to boil, no need to microwave. It comes out the right temperature already. I really like that. In the uppers up here, we have quite a bit of storage. It's adjustable, so you can set the height. The coach comes with all the plates and placemats and napkins and everything that we would put on the table. We moved it around quite a bit today, so I put it up there so it wouldn't fall off. But it's really got tons of storage. This is a very nice pantry. It's got slide out shelves in it. And then an adjustable shelf up here for cases of sodas or whatever. And then there's more still here. This is kind of a multi-use. We put a closet rod in it. That way, if you're traveling with folks, you can take these shelves out and use it as a hanging storage. But the idea is we made several of these shelves right here. We've got 4 of them in, but we made several of them. You can set it up custom for whatever you want to store in there.
Very well lit as well. And then a downlit hanging bar as well. Yeah, and we went right by it, but there's an accent wall here with some really cool indirect lighting and kind of a khaki, or how would you describe that material?
I would describe it by calling Amber or Sydney and saying, okay, what is that?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. But one thing that's really cool about this that we've talked about quite a bit is it's an easy piece to change. So like at some point down the road, somebody buys this coach and says, I'd really like a pop of color, a black or something like that. We can take this insert out and put a new one in here, and it totally changes the look of the walls. There's several places through the coach where you'll see that.
It would have been really easy to just leave that as a bulkhead wall, but just really takes it to the next level.
All of those details add up. And that's what makes these so special.
And we also passed by the dinette here, but we've got a huge dinette. Now, does this extend, and is there storage here?
All the above. And it's really why this is so popular. We have a lot of people come through and say, I really like table and chairs, or I like the bar that faces the window, that kind of thing. But when they see the functionality of this, we end up building this for them more often than really anything else. And what I'm talking about is tons of storage, both sides. You've got that. There's seat belts. So if you're in a situation where you need to buckle kids in or whatever, you've got that. And then in that similar situation, if you have other people along, the entire dinette slides out. So if you have more people, you put bolsters in, you put a leaf in the table, and you can seat 6 people around the dinette, which is really unheard of. And really, a lot of times we'll drag this thing over here and use it as another set of seats on the end of the table.
Yeah, and with this larger ottoman, you could probably have 2 seats there pretty comfortably.
Absolutely.
So, as you put this dinette back in, it's incredible. All of the little details. I'm noticing even more, indirect lighting here below this windowsill. And you even have a solid surface on the windowsill that looks like it matches the table. The lights around the window. And then, even here as we come to the mid-entry, you've got the indirect lighting below this divider with that same countertop. And then that's kind of that new frame TV, or what do you call that?
Samsung frame, yeah. Really cool because it's got all of the art that Samsung provides, plus you can upload whatever's in your photo gallery to it as well. So when it's turned off, it's art. It's got a frame around it, so it literally looks like it's a piece of art hanging up there. And so then if you're wanting to watch television, it also swivels out to whatever angle. So if you're here at the galley, now you've got it nice and straight on. If you're sitting on the seat at the dinette over there, it goes all the way to there, and there's a nice little hidden storage cubby back behind it as well.
And I'll point out too, when this is all the way out, you can walk in and out of the coach without having to, bump your head out. Now, if it was in a middle position, it would be in the way a little
Could
bit.
be, yeah.
Is there a step cover in a center entry coach?
Yeah, really all of our coaches, front entry also, but a center entry is really crucial, especially as you're getting used to it. When I first started in the industry 36 years ago, oh my God, they were all center entries and none of them had covers, and that was just normal. Nobody fell down the steps because that's where the entry is. But now we put a cover over the steps really regardless. So when you're in for the night or when you're cooking and bustling around, close the step cover, safe. I'm a 220-pound guy and it's made for whatever. It's perfectly safe to just use it as floor once it's out.
Yes, sir. And I noticed kind of a window inlay on the entry door, but it's closed right now. Does this have a window on the entry door?
In this case, no. Some people do choose a window for that. Generally, though, the comment is it messes with my paint scheme too much.
Yes, sir.
Because the window there is really cool, but it does really mess up the paint scheme. So I get where they're coming from. I would say the majority of our mid-entry coaches do not have a window there.
Now, folks,
we do have cameras, so you can see who's out there.
Or you can just look out this window right here.
Absolutely,
it's a pretty good view of who's at your door right from that window. But also, too, you can do the perforated vinyl. I know Ryan Laux, your paint designer, can do that in-house at Newell.
Absolutely, yeah. There's quite a few of our customers, especially the rear windows, will have him do that perf vinyl so that you can continue the paint job over the window, but still see in and out.
And that's real. They're really painting that vinyl with the same paint colors that's on the rest of the coach, so it really looks pro. It's not like a cheesy, vinyl that has a dye that they're trying to match the paint job. It's actually painted perforated vinyl, which is a whole different level. Coming to the middle of the coach, what's all going on here in the middle of the coach?
So this area right here in this floor plan for a mid-entry is one of the things that people discuss the most about. What am I going to do with it? We do refrigerators, we do wine fridges. The one last year had a long skinny cabinet so that you could put serving trays in it for carrying food in and out with drawers over here. This one obviously is set up as a coffee station, so it's got the little place for your K-pods and all of that, and then other coffee supplies up here. This is set up right now as the traditional, brew a whole pot or a half pot of coffee, but you just swap out the heads here and you can use it as a Keurig style. And then storage, just got storage down underneath it here. Actually pretty nice size storage, but we can do anything there. The wine fridges are cool, beverage coolers, it doesn't have to be wine, you can put whatever in it. I liked the one with the long skinny for the serving trays. I thought that was pretty clever last year. And over here on the other side, I've really come to appreciate this little cabinet here because I'm tired of smelling like diesel fuel all the time, so I keep my gloves in there and the doggy poop bags and all of that stuff.
For
That's the shoe covers that we use while we're in the coach. That, you know, it's just a perfect spot for coming in and out.
Dog leashes, like you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then you've got your touch panel right here, where as soon as you come in the coach, you can control all of your lighting while you're still standing in the entryway.
Lighting, bay door locks, awnings, so many things. There's several pages on this touch panel of things that you can control.
Yeah, very easy to get to your exterior lighting, all that good stuff. I'm seeing these pocket doors here with this over-the-top kind of a door handle look to it. Looking forward to seeing what's behind these doors here. And also, too, I've noticed that the half bathroom is usually going to be on the passenger side of the coach, but this is newer that you're having a mid-entry with the half bathroom on the driver's side of the coach?
And the idea there is if we do the straight entry steps like this, the panel to cover it has to come out from underneath here, so it doesn't work well with a mid-entry, because that's where the plumbing goes down through the floor. So typically, if the straight in steps are spec'd, we move the half bath over to this side. It's not a big deal for us. Like I said, we build the whole thing, so it's a matter of rearranging the pieces until they do what you want it to do. And in a show coach situation, we have multiple different door options here. Some people prefer just a regular hinge door, but in a show coach situation, our bathrooms are pretty spectacular. You've shown a million of them on the videos, but everyone wants to see that. So if it's a hinge door, you know, you've got to stop, open. That person looks, then closes it. This person goes by. We just do pocket doors in here, so that way when they want to see what we've got going in there, you can just walk right by.
With that handle, I was a little bit worried that it was going to catch on something, because it had that very three-dimensional look, but still plenty of clearance to slide in that pocket door there.
I'm always talking about the little Easter eggs that they hide in here. You pointed out the design on the rugs.
Oh,
it's
the
mirrored
wall.
on the wall in here too.
Oh, yes,
we kind
sir.
of carry the theme through the coach.
Yeah, and then it looks like a bidet toilet in there.
Yeah.
And then I see the 1849 embroidery.
One thing I really appreciate about the half baths that we do is that we dedicate enough space to them that it's comfortable in here. My recent experience living in an RV, it's really super cramped in there, and this is nice. Plenty of room, nice big sink. As you mentioned, a bidet toilet, lots of storage back here behind, tons of detail. It's got the porcelain inlay there in the back that complements the tile. We've got lots of storage in here with drawers and cabinets. It's just a really nice setup.
Then I'm noticing it looks like matte black hardware there where your refrigerator is.
Yeah, this is our refrigerator here. It's got 3 different zones. This one is the ice drawer, and it's always freezer. This bottom one, you can adjust and make it a wine fridge or a chiller or an actual freezer. You can set it however you want. And we really like this refrigerator. It's just a very robust unit. It's designed very well. The shelves are super strong. The hinges are very robust. One thing we've done recently within the last couple of years, we've always relied on snap catches to hold those closed. Now we have a magnetic latch, so when you turn off the park brake, the refrigerator's locked closed. There is an override button on the panel there by the galley, so if you need to get in while you're going down the road, but you don't have to remember to lock the refrigerator. It does it automatically.
Can we see behind door number 2 there?
Absolutely. So this is the portal to the master chamber.
Man, it's just incredible with all the lighting. Now, this has the underlit countertops. Yeah, I don't think the camera's doing proper justice, but that's got to be a pretty expensive option.
Yeah, the quartzite, it's natural stone, high crystalline content, so the lights shine through it. I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but in real life, the glow is just ridiculous. This coach has a button that just does accent lights. So if you're ready to chill for a while and read in bed or whatever, you can hit Light Master off and then hit accent lights. You don't have to go through and choose all the accent lights. It just does it for it, and the glow is unbelievable. It just looks so good in here.
Yeah, and we'll get some close-ups of that countertop. The nightstand countertops also match that. But you mentioned a little bit earlier, this has a fixed TV, but still configured if someone wanted to switch out to a projector later on.
Yeah, this whole wall system here is removable, and we built the window in behind it, which is the important part. So the television is here. There's a nice hidden storage area behind it, and then little storage on the sides. But the main thing that we pick up here by not doing a televator is all of this storage. This would all be lost if you had a lift television. We've done the clothes hamper in here, which is kind of nice. As you're getting ready to go to bed, you can just throw the dirty clothes in here. All of that's gone if you do a lift television. As such, we see a lot of people either choose to build one in if they're in a situation where they say, I never raise the bedroom shades, or we do the projection system.
Yeah, and then you still have closet space on both sides
Yeah.
of the TV with downlit hanging bars. So much storage squeezed into these coaches.
We try to use every square inch. You know, you've got 45 by 13 and a half, and we try to make sure it's as livable as it possibly can be.
So how big is this bed?
This is a king size bed. A customer will say, I want a king size bed, but when they see what we have to do to the rest of the coach to make that happen, they're like, okay, put the biggest bed that will fit my floor plan. In this situation, this is so perfect for a king size bed already, it just worked. So we did a king size retractable. It's retracted right now, but a king size retractable bed. It's got powered lift, so there's storage underneath it that you can get to without having to lift the bed. And there's control panels on both sides of the bed so that either person can run literally every bit of the coach. The audio, video, the HVAC, everything is controlled off of those panels.
It looks like you also have outlets and USB ports as well as USB-C and underlit countertops on both sides of the bed. And then some pretty deep storage here overhead as well.
This is the one that we built so that we could put a projector in should a future client want it. And then this is the surround sound processor for back here. And the outlets and the nightstands are so crucial because so many of our customers are using CPAPs. And having the ability to just put it right there and plug it in, it's easy to get to for cleaning and everything, is really nice. And another thing that I really didn't appreciate until I lived in my little RV is look at the room here on the sides of the bed.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm a big stickler for the bed needs to be made every day, and that thing is a giant pain to make. And this is so easy, you know, you just pull the covers up and it's made.
Well, and even with a king-size bed, you still have nightstand space. A lot of times you miss your countertop
You give
space
that
when
away.
you get to that king-size bed. And does this window behind the bed open up if you want to get some fresh air in
It does.
here?
It's the egress window, of course, so that's a one use, but this is a screened portion here that goes out awning style, so you can leave it open when when it's raining, sort of thing. And then we have vent fans in the coach that you can turn on from your phones or any of the touch panels. So you open up a couple of windows and turn those on, and it moves some serious air.
Yes, sir. And then, looking towards the aft of the bedroom, you got more of those accent walls, and then this door is just over the top. If there was like an inspiration for the design of this door, I'm trying to like pinpoint what this would be compared to.
You know what it feels like to me? You've seen the Indiana Jones movies,
That's
right?
what I'm thinking. Yes, sir.
That's where the treasure is right behind that.
That's
so
what it
that's what it
feels
feels like
like
to me. I love them. I think they're just such a cool.
Well, and even other than this handle, it's almost like a brushed aluminum in the inlay, but
Yeah.
I think you nailed it with Indiana Jones, and looking forward to seeing what the treasure is back here. Can we take a look back there?
Absolutely. The treasure back here is the master bathroom.
Whoa. You guys were not messing around with this one. The first thing that really drew my eye, and I'm going to take a step up here, is if you look closely, the stones around the edge of the bathroom floor is giving it that real spa feel. And then, of course, another underlit countertop with the 1849 embroidery in the towel. You've got another bidet toilet, the matte black heated towel bar. These floors almost have like a concrete feel to them.
Yeah.
And are these heated tile
They are,
floors?
yeah, front to back. All the flooring is heated.
Well, I just kind of jumped here in the bathroom, but you're the expert on what's going on back here. And
So
what's all
we have a really nice setup here with ASCO front load washer and dryer. There's tons of room to operate them. Being that I'm kind of tall, and if it's in a tight situation, I would rather not have front loaders. I'd rather have top loaders, but this has got so much room to work. And then a nice shelf up here where you can keep the detergents and fabric softeners and that sort of thing. I love that the doors retract, so when it's laundry day, they're out of the way and you don't have to mess with them. It's a 220 volt dryer, so it dries clothes just as quickly as it does at home.
Yes, sir. Then when you close those up, you've got the full-length mirror as well. I know you've got a lot of really good-looking Newell coach owners out there. They got to make sure they're on their A game, and from head to toe, you can check out your whole
Absolutely.
wardrobe, your whole outfit. And then It's almost like full-length mirrors here in the back of the coach. Got a lot of closet space back here as well.
This is hanging space back here with a really nice drawer underneath. We obviously provide all the linens. The sheets are custom made, the bed covers are custom made, the mattress covers are custom made, and obviously the towels.
I didn't even notice. So when I walked into this bathroom, I got so fired up about the underlit countertops, the heated towel bar, all the cool, textures going on the floors, but I didn't even see the shower. Holy smokes.
It's huge.
This is on another level.
So what we did here, really, really like this. This one's got a stand-up jacuzzi feature. So it's jetted here and out of this. And so when you've had a long, hard day, you can just kind of sit here and soak it up for a while. In some cases, we'll even do a steam generator in the shower. Typically not in a Florida, Coach, because we have our own steam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that's kind of nice in here too. The NASCAR guys love it. Kind of sweat the toxins out of their body, so they'll do a steam room in here. But this is just such a nice setup, and it's huge. There's so much room in here.
There's so many little details I'm catching back there. Like this ceiling has that floating ceiling with indirect lighting. You also have bright puck lighting, and I know there's a vent above that to pull out all that steam, and then you even have the seamless drain as well. And the different tile work, man, it's just incredible. The craftsmen at Newell Coach and the design team, how they choose all of these different textures and the way it all comes together.
It's an incredible crew.
It looks like you're in a high-end spa, like a St. Regis or a Waldorf Astoria or something. So
it's exactly what we were going for.
Then you even have the matte black shampoo dispensers there, just another cool little touch. Brian, we really appreciate the opportunity to see this Tampa show, Coach. Now, I know this is going to be on display January 14th through the 18th in Tampa, but if someone wants to purchase this, Coach, is it available?
No.
Oh, man.
No, this one is already, this one didn't make it out of the paint booth. A guy saw it and fell in love with it and traded a 2022 model in for it. He's had 6, maybe more of our coaches, and he fell in love with this one, and so this is his coach. But we will build you one.
Yeah, well, a huge congratulations to the new owner of this coach. And I know that's part of the deal that you work with them is they've got to allow you to use it as the show coach so you can sell a bunch of more custom orders off of this coach. When people see them in person and touch and feel them, they're ready to write you that $2.8 million check.
So make it their own.
Yeah. Now you mentioned he traded in a 22, and a couple weeks ago we saw some of your pre-owned inventory. What's the current pre-owned inventory, and how can folks keep an eye on that?
We've got a fairly nice selection, especially the late model stuff. It comes and goes really quick. This guy's coach, as soon as he said yes, it was pre-sold. It was a center entry, late model, no miles, I think 17,000 miles. It was instantly back out the door. They come and go, but I mean, if you keep an eye on newellcoach.com, and I maintain a mailing list. Every Monday I send out, here's what's new. And generally before it gets on the website, if I'm able to get pictures of it and so on. So if you would like to have that, reach out to me and I'll put you on the mailing list. But we update it as soon as we know. We put the coaches on there, and when they're sold, we mark them sold and then take them right off. So you'll be able to get a really good idea of what our current inventory looks like. One thing to note, though, right now it's kind of scattered. I've got 2 pre-owned coaches down here in Florida. There's 3 pre-owned coaches in California, as well as the 2 show coaches, both of which are sold.
Now, if someone wants to custom build a coach, what's your current backlog on custom building a coach?
We're running right at 18 months, which is, it sounds like a long time, but, going into a house building project, having the time to plan it is actually, I start taking pictures of things I like and building a vision board for it. 18 months is really about right. And so, if you order a coach now, it's January, you get it mid-year next year, and we've built you one exactly the way you like it.
Now, are there any show coaches, if someone wants to snap one of those up, that are going to be available?
So we have 2, the 2 January show coaches for the wintertime show were center entries, and they are both sold. We have 2 front entry coaches that are still in process. They'll come off in mid-February, and those are both still available. although we do typically sell them while they're in paint. Once people get an idea of what they're going to look like, once they go into paint, the interior's pretty close to done, so it's enough that you can see where we're going with it. And then they see the paint job on the outside and they're like, okay, I don't want to wait 18 months, there it is. And then for our summer show season, we are building one of those that you and I were talking about earlier. It's a bunk bed 2-bath coach. So I'll be taking that one to Petoskey, Michigan, to Hearthside Grove, and likely over to Mountain Falls in North Carolina to show that coach in the summertime market. Other than that, it's out there a ways.
Yeah, and folks can always go to Miami, Oklahoma. There's always a couple coaches, pre-owned inventory or new coaches coming off of production that folks can at least see. So,
and frankly, the customers love showing their coaches off too.
Oh, yeah.
You walk through the service department, you're going to get invitations.
Oh, the camaraderie there.
Yeah.
The Newell Coach family is unlike any other. Just some amazing folks in the Newell family. Brian, what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you if they want to get a conversation going about purchasing or custom ordering a coach?
Really reaching out through the website. NewellCoach.com is the easiest way. My mug is on there with my contact information. You can call the office, and Megan, our receptionist, will transfer you to my cell phone. And they have all the latest, where I'm going to be, how to get in touch with me, and all of that. My email address is brianp@newellcoach.com. Brian's with an I. That's direct to me. It doesn't go through an intermediary. I check it every day. So one of those methods is really the best way to get me.
Yeah, and if you have a chance to visit the Tampa Super Show, January 14th through the 18th, Brian will be there in person.
Absolutely.
So. Well, Brian, really appreciate you and the team at Newell Coach.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming out to look at our coach.
Yeah, an honor, and also appreciate all of you guys out there sharing, liking, and subscribing. We hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.
This nicer build quality, really, you start to see where the $2.8 million comes from.
From the exterior to the interior, no shortage of lighting here at Newell Coach. By far the largest living space in the Class A industry.